Hello everyone, you are on Draw With Me channel, and today we'll see HasanAbi's reaction to what's happening in America. Also, I leave link to Instagram in description under the video.
Sorry, she was being a little weird. I thought she needed to pee or something. So I let her out. All right, let's watch.
We've been digging into the new polling from NBC News that shows President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump deadlocked in a
Kornacki, the
hypothetical
khaki warrior, is back.
Election matchup. Voters also have concerns about the current president's age and mental fitness. For the numbers, let's bring in NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki at the big board. Steve, dig into these numbers.
Yes, some interesting findings here, Mika. I mean, the headline, a couple headlines here on the Republican side. First of all, here is where the Republican race stands in our poll. Nationally, at least, Donald Trump with an enormous lead over his nearest competitor, Ron DeSantis, a 43-point gap there between Trump now at 59%, DeSantis at 16, everybody else in single digits. This movement has been steady and consistent for months now for Trump. If you went all the way back to our poll in April, Trump's lead over DeSantis at that point was just 15 points. DeSantis was over 30%. DeSantis' support has come down basically in half since then, and Trump's lead has basically tripled since April. And again, the context here, there have been indictments since April. There was that first Republican debate that Donald Trump skipped. There were a lot of events, a lot of things happened that rival Republican campaigns and candidates were counting on to make this race tighter. Instead, it's going in the exact opposite direction with another debate on the Republican side looming in just a couple days, another debate that Donald Trump is going to be skipping, it appears. So that's the Republican side of things. And if Republicans do indeed go forward and nominate the former president for a rematch with the current president.
Steve Kornacki's looking hot. Are you wearing pajama pants? No. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a shofar, which would be very appropriate for this day. Holy day. This is a lamb horn. An Icelandic lamb horn is 100% edible, all natural, safe, and fully digestible. A large one. I love the Cedar heads in the chat. Immediately throwing Sam Cedar emotes as soon as I said shofar. Why in the world would you have a shofar? Because I'm a cedar head myself. Shofar is a lamb horn? Yeah, but like it has a hole in it so you can blow on it, no? Look at this dog's face right now. Look at this. Look at it. She's not even, nothing in the world could be happening right now that is more important than what is in my hands. Woo. Sam, I turned 35 today and finally got a... Sam, I turned 35 today and finally got a raise for the first time in my life. Can I get a shofar? Blow on the shofar, please. Okay, anyway, I'm such a fucking idiot. All right, let's see what she does. Hey, you want this? Take it. Go, take it. Take it. Oh, she likes it. Chewing on it already. Guys, I already ran the top of the hour ad break, by the way. I don't know why everyone in the chat is still trying to debate me. I did it 8 minutes ago. Okay. Let's get back to Steve Kornacki.
We find Biden and Trump tied 46-46 in this poll. There have been several other polls out recently from other organizations that show a similar result here, a Biden-Trump neck-and-neck race. The significance of this, I would say, is just if you look back to 2020 and really the year leading into the 2020 election, this is not what national polling between Biden and Trump looked like. We had 11 NBC News polls, 11 between the fall of 2019 and the eve of the election in 2020, matching Joe Biden against Donald Trump. And I can tell you, Biden led every single one of them, never by fewer than 6 points and by as many as 11 points. And in every reputable national polling average from the fall of 2019 until Election Day 2020, Joe Biden led the entire way in matchups against Donald Trump. So this is not.
Is the fucking lamb horn safe? Like, she's like breaking it right now. I can hear it breaking. I'm a little worried. Yeah, she's like, it's not safe, bro. If it shatters, then no. Very not safe. Make sure it doesn't splinter, then it'll be fine. As long as it's not cooked. I mean, I got it from a store. Only worries that animal bone parts wear down dog teeth pretty quickly. No, the worry I have is that it's like, if it breaks in a certain way, what if it like splinters and then gets stuck in our throat? You know what I mean?
Not to say that Donald Trump is the favorite to win. This is a tied race in this national poll here. It's just to say that the dynamic between the two of them at this point seems to be a little bit different than it was 4 years ago, at least what's appearing in the poll, in our poll and in other polls. And again, this coming after multiple indictments of Donald Trump. We wondered what effect that would have on his standing against Biden. It does not seem, at least in our polling right now, certainly, that it's knocked Trump out. This is a dead even race in our polling here. A big thing that's driving this is what's different from 2020. Joe Biden's the incumbent president now, not Donald Trump. And it's Joe Biden who's sitting there with a 41% approval rating in our poll, 56% disapprove, 56, the highest disapprove mark Biden has racked up in our polling. Big cause of that is the economy. When Biden took office, basically a couple months in, the country was right down the middle on whether they were satisfied or dissatisfied with the state of the economy. Now, barely a quarter of voters say they are satisfied with the state of the economy. So low approval rating, low satisfaction with where the economy is. And then there's also this. You know, we've talked plenty, again, about Donald Trump, about the indictments, about the looming trials, about all of the legal issues, about January 6th, and a majority there, a sizable majority, 62%, almost 2 out of 3 voters say that is a major or moderate concern to them as they think about the 2024 election. But look what's 12 points higher. Joe Biden's age and fitness for office. Nearly 3 out of 4 voters say.
That's so funny. It's true. Except Trump's age and fitness gets 47%, dog. God damn, dude. They're like fucking 3 years apart, man. Like, that's the 3 years is so much can change in 3 years, 2 years. So much. Except the reality is that Joe Brandon presents as much older than Trump. Straight up. He comes across much older than Trump. That's it. Trump has a level of clarity that Joe Biden does not have. Joe Biden doesn't have the level of fitness that Trump has. Biden just looks a lot older. Just watch the clips from them back to back. Bernie's older and he's far more coherent than both of them. Exactly. Exactly.
That is a major or moderate concern. Joe Biden is 80 years old. Donald Trump turned 77 this summer. But the number for Trump in terms of concern about age and fitness is 27 points lower than it is for Biden.
Level of clarity. What is he saying here?
But you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than hitting a whale with your boat. There has only been, listen to this, one such whale killed off the coast of South Carolina in the last...
Wait, what do you mean? He's fucking spitting. Dude, let me tell you something. Trump is like the absolute GOAT at like finding some random minor thing that is, by the way, regionally specific. He does this all the time. Trump has never had a single moment of clarity. You're kidding? Wait, what are we talking about? Trump is literally the absolute best at finding a singular piece of information that is region specific and hammering that in the dumbest way possible. And then everyone from that region going, yeah, no, he's 100% correct about that, actually. Like, we've done this before. And tying it to, like, something totally inappropriate, by the way. Like, he will always find something, like, totally niche or totally region-specific and then tying it to, like, a broader narrative about, like, fucking environmentalism or whatever, okay? And he always does that. He always does that shit. And then you have to Google it, and then you find out, like, oh, he's not even wrong, though. Like, this thing that he's talking about is happening. It's just completely unrelated to why he brought it up. Yeah, the fish dying in California was a great example of, like, something that I didn't even fucking know. And then it turns out he wasn't wrong. It's just that he was using it in the absolute fucking wrong place. Like, completely irrelevant to the point that he's trying to make. And by the way, for the record, it still shows clarity. Yeah, lobster fishermen in Maine, or like the fish dying in California. You know?
last 50 years. But on the other hand, their windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. Nobody does anything.
You don't get it. The windmills are killing the whales. And did you hear the crowd? They went, yeah! Look.
Numbers never seen before. But on the other hand, their windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. Nobody does anything about that. They're washing.
They're clapping. They're fucking clapping. Oh, that's so good. That shit is directly from the Heritage Foundation, by the way. Okay. This is clarity. What do you mean? He is perfectly demonstrating Heritage Foundation talking points in a charismatic fashion to his fucking audience of idiots. What do you mean? That in and of itself is like, he is the best political operative then. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. What do you mean? Windmills killing whales is clarity? No, brother. Okay. You and I have very different opinions on clarity, I think. What do you expect a Republican president to say? Like you want him to be truthful and honest? Like, I don't understand. He's running for president on the Republican ticket. Like, no. For what he is supposed to do, for what he is designed to do, he's doing a great job with it in a way where Brandon, unfortunately, is not as good. Now, if we're going to talk about matchups, Brandon versus DeSantis, for example, like, Joe Brandon is a much better retail politician than Ron DeSantis is. But Trump is a fairly decent retail politician. But more importantly, even though he has, like, great disgust and disdain for the unwashed masses, which I think was way more apparent back in the day, he at least is, like, the king of doing a tight five and incorporating, like I said, he's doing a tight five in a way that you can only do if in a way that you can only do if you have, like, at least some level of cognitive ability. Okay. But not only that, whales are dying along the East Coast and a fight is surfacing over who's to blame. I fucking love this story. Oh my God, it's so good. See, this is what he does every single time. We really got to stop to consider how responsive his inane ramblings is less defined by his coherency and more by how fucking stupid his audience is. Yes, but I mean, the dude is senile, though. He doesn't say anything that makes sense. Dude, you're crazy. You literally just described Trump making a coherent point that is an American heritage or the Heritage Foundation talking point to an audience that loved it. Like, he straight up delivered American Enterprise Institute talking points in a way that is like super palatable. I wrote a whole story about this windmill thing a while ago. It's such goddamn nonsense. It's completely made up. Okay, this is what I mean. Of course it's fucking nonsense, and of course it's made up. He's a Republican. Why are you expecting him? Why are you expecting mental cognition to be about like saying correct things on when someone is running for president, but especially on the Republican side? If he was actually if he was actually demented, he wouldn't be able to deliver those talking points. If he was like truly demented, if his mental cognition had suffered dramatically in the same way that like Joe Brandon's is, he would be flubbing way more. Like I'm not talking about fucking fact checking Trump. Of course he doesn't have any of course nothing he says is factually correct. So is Biden stumbling on his words, not clarity, but Trump doing that is? Is that what you mean? No. For Joseph Robinette Biden, moments where he like fails to deliver in a charismatic fashion the talking points that he's supposed to deliver is a sign of a politician losing their mental cognition. That's what I'm saying. Okay? Trump is the GOAT at delivering fake populist messaging to a reactionary audience and retaining the position that he's like pro-worker, pro-labor rights, while simultaneously absolutely holding the material interests of capital owners close to his heart. That's what he does, and that's what he does best. He does it better than any of the fucking Republicans that are much younger than he is. He also still can read the room much better. Anyway, the argument that windmills are noisy and hurts whales, a single transatlantic oil ship is noise circle 20x times bigger than a windmill is nonsense. Bro, you're so fucking lost in the weeds if you think that like something being factually inaccurate and Trump believing it means that he's experiencing cognitive decline. No, that makes him a better Republican. Okay? That makes him a better Republican. We are talking entirely different languages if you think that like the assessment I should be making is off of like how factually accurate Trump's statements are. Like, okay? If anything, if he was like saying factually correct things, I would be like, damn, is Trump losing it? Like, what's going on? Like, if he went on that stage and started fucking preaching about Medicare for all, I'd be like, what? He's lost a step, I think, because this is not how it works. You know who's factually correct and also not senile? Nikki Haley, okay? Look to her fucking approval ratings to understand why Trump is a better politician than Nikki fucking Haley. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
up and show. I saw it this weekend. 3 of them came up. You wouldn't see it once a year. Now they're coming up on a weekly basis. The windmills are driving them crazy. They're driving.
I swear this community is so neocon, it's insane. Wait, what? Now you're just saying words, dude. And it's ironic because neocons are exactly the type of fucking dudes that despise Donald Trump. What do you mean they're so neocon? This community being neocon, if we were neocon, we'd be like, I don't know, dick riding fucking Ron DeSantis or some shit because he's the reasonable and very clearly coherent Republican that is going to save the Republican Party and enact the righteous vengeance that we must as the hegemonic superpower and drop this like fake populist nonsense. The chatter can't recognize the difference between malicious propaganda and this type of gas.
How would you say your mental focus is?
Oh, it's focused. I haven't, look, I have trouble even mentioning, even saying to myself, my own head, the number of years. I no more think of myself as being as old as I am than fly. I mean, it's just not, I haven't observed anything in terms of, there's not things I don't do now that I did before, whether it's physical or mental or anything else.
Now, pair that up or pair this gaffe up with like a million different fucking things. And Trump has gaffes like this too. From time to time, his brain short circuits as well because he's like full of McDonald's and Diet Coke, okay? But like a comparison between him doing that and Trump doing this, which is like literally being perceived in the best light ever by this audience. They're like, yeah, you're right. Fuck those windmills. They're killing the goddamn whales, sir. When Joe Biden does that, no one fucking thinks like, oh, sick, dude. I love that. He's not trying. The difference is he's not trying to come across as senile, and yet he is. Whereas here, Donald Trump is deliberately spreading misinformation and doing it in a way that is like appealing to the audience. That's the major difference between why, unfortunately, people perceive Donald Trump as not that old, whereas they perceive Joe Biden as very old, despite the fact that there's only 2 years between them.
And again, that number for Biden higher than we were seeing, concern about age, higher than we were seeing when he was a candidate in 2019 and 2020. And lastly, I can just show you, at least at this point, this is where Democrats have work to do. And if you're an optimistic Democrat, you'd say, well, we'll do this work. This is how we'll win the election. But there is an enthusiasm gap that you're seeing in the polling right here. You ask folks on a scale of 1 to 10. How interested are you in the election? 9 and 10 being the highest. These are the percent who answered 9 or 10.
Yes, some people hate Trump so much, yes, for a good reason. They see Hasan saying as him defending Trump instead of him putting himself in the Republican shoes. Yes. Analysis that I make of Donald Trump, oftentimes, unless I'm directly yelling at him for being a fucking piece of shit monster, is going to be from the perspective of like how Republicans perceive him. So you can get a better understanding of why these fucking polls are happening, because it's in the context of like why Donald Trump is currently dicking down Joe Brandon's decrepit corpse in the polls. Now, does that mean that he will definitely win? Of course not. We're a year out. There's so much that can change in that time frame. I always tell you this.
10, 3/4 of Republicans, not quite 70% of Democrats. So there is a gap there. One of the areas where the gap is most pronounced, you see it among white voters. Nearly 3 out of 4 put themselves in that 9 or 10 category. Among non-white voters, it's barely half. Obviously, a big part of the Democratic coalition involves non-white voters, particularly African-American voters. And you see the gap there in terms of interest at this point. So you've seen Democrats start to talk about targeting black vote in particular, trying to get that black vote mobilized early in this campaign. We'll see if they're successful with that. But you can see that's a big portion there of the lag for Democrats right now in terms of interest in this election.
Yeah, and Reverend Al, let's bring in Reverend Al. Stay with us, Steve. Let's bring in Reverend Al right there. You know, this is something that we've heard about in 2020, as well as over the past several years. And there's sort of this enthusiasm gap among people of color. And yet in 2022, obviously, that vote held up for Democrats. But there seems to be a growing concern among Democratic activists you talk to and people inside the Biden campaign, and there's the same concern in 2020, that there's some fading of support from especially black men, Hispanic men. What do you think? What's driving that right now?
I think a lot of what is driving it, and we talked about it last week and to the weekend at the Congressional Black Caucus meetings, is that one, a lot of the things that were done that advanced the interests of the black community has not been messaged to those on the ground. I think that a lot of Beltway knowledge is not being translated on the ground.
Wait, like what? Like what would it? I hope he gives us examples.
Black unemployment is the lowest it's ever been. But if people don't know that, then they will not rally around that. We're dealing with.
Bro, what the fuck? That's literally what Trump said too. That's so fucking shitty. That literally is the exact same thing that Trump said. Black unemployment is the lowest it's ever been under my administration. And guess what? Trump also had at least the First Step Act that he could point to as like as far as criminal justice reform. You know what I mean? Now, obviously that he's not winning the black vote anytime soon, but like it's not necessarily like that. This counter is precisely the reason why the information is being, I guess, perceived on the ground, and it's not yielding positive results.
Why is that not getting through? How's the White House missing that? I mean, you know, Donald. Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously,
say it. No, he wanted to say Donald Trump said the same thing about black unemployment.
The messaging is not coming right. Their strategy of how they're getting messages out there and messengers with credibility is not there. And then the assault. I think, Joe, that the fact that they're not really talking about how we lost affirmative action, and they're actually going after states and companies that are dealing with DEI programs. I'm going to court tomorrow in Atlanta with two women that formed a group that called they formed a fund called the Fearless Fund, where they were actually giving money to upstart money to black women to start their businesses. They're being sued by the same people, Ed Blum, that did the affirmative action case. But the administration ought to be talking about this. You're stopping people from going into business?
Nope. No. The administration should be doing things, not necessarily relying on Republicans being cruel. Okay? Jesus fucking Christ, nailed the goddamn camera down already? Oh my God, dude. All right, how about I fucking turn it off and I give you a fucking hour off, okay? There you go. Are you happy? Like, this is so... What a bunch of petulant, smarmy little children I have in this fucking community sometimes. You know what? I'm not going to punish the entire chat for that. That's crazy.
When conservatives says that's what we ought to be doing, these are the kinds of things that I think fire people up, but they can't get fired up if you don't turn the burner on.
Anyway,
what do you think about this reaction of Hasan? Sent commenter of this situation, Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Thank you guys for watching together. Don't forget to leave a comment and go to our Instagram in the description. Bye.